What if I told you that a single microscopic bacterium changed the course of human history forever? In the mid-14th century, an invisible killer swept across continents, wiping out nearly half of Europe's population. This was not just a plague, it was the Black Death. But where did it come from, and how did it spread so fast? Today, we dive deep into the shocking origins of the deadliest pandemic in human history. The story of the Black Death begins far away from the bustling cities of Europe. Modern science traces the bacterium Yersinia pestis back to the arid steppes of Central Asia. For centuries, the plague lived quietly inside wild rodent populations, carried by fleas that fed on their blood. It was a time bomb, waiting for the right conditions to explode. Those conditions came in the early 1300s. Trade routes, what we now call the Silk Road, were connecting east and west like never before. Merchants carried silk, spices, and precious metals across vast distances. But they carried something else too: infected fleas and rats. Each wagon, each caravan, each ship was an unwitting vessel of death. Historians believe the first major outbreak began in the region around Lake Issyk in present-day Kyrgyzstan. From there, the disease traveled westward, reaching the great trading hub of Kaffa, a Genoese outpost on the Crimean Peninsula, in 1346. Here, history took a chilling turn. Kaffa was under siege by the Mongols. As the story goes, Mongol forces, weakened by the plague themselves, catapulted the corpses of infected soldiers over the city walls. In a desperate attempt at biological warfare, whether myth or truth, the result was undeniable. The plague entered the city, and terrified survivors fled by ship, carrying the disease with them across the Mediterranean. By 1347, the Black Death had reached Europe. The first ports to suffer were in Sicily and Italy. Ships arrived with crews already dying or dead, their cargo swarming with rats. The infection spread with terrifying speed. Within months, it had moved north through France and Spain, then across the English Channel to Britain. No city, no village, no monastery was safe. The spread was so rapid that chroniclers of the time could hardly believe their own eyes. Imagine a world with no germ theory, no understanding of bacteria or contagion. To medieval Europeans, this was the hand of God, divine punishment for humanity's sins. Priests preached repentance, while others blamed minority groups, fueling violence and persecution. But science today paints a clearer picture. Fleas, rats, and human movement created the perfect storm. A single bite from an infected flea introduced the bacteria into the bloodstream, where it multiplied rapidly, overwhelming the body. Combine this with poor sanitation, overcrowded towns, and constant travel, and you had a pandemic that would spiral completely out of control. Contemporary records show that in just 4 years, from 1347 to 1351, the Black Death tore through Europe, killing between 75 and 100 million people worldwide. To put that in perspective, almost half of Europe's population simply vanished. Entire towns were abandoned, fields went, until the very structure of society began to crack. Yet this is only the beginning of the story. What exactly did the Black Death do to the human body? How did people experience its horrifying symptoms? And how did society react as fear, chaos, and desperation consumed medieval Europe? The answers are even more shocking.